Hello guys and welcome back to another FPL video. I know that Game Week 2 has just started and Chelsea have trashed West Ham, but I wanted to start preparing some content for you. Game Week 3 is a prime week where you can activate your free hit if you're looking for that strategy, because in general Arsenal and Liverpool will face against each other, and that means if you have several players from those teams, you can take them out safely. This will also allow you to stack it up on some teams that you may have not started with. We're going to see in a second how the fixtures look in the first section, and then we're going to see how the team that I've prepared is looking like. I think that first couple of weeks, especially the first week and the game against between Chelsea and West Ham, have shown me several things, so I want to pinpoint it to you. Of course, most probably there is going to be an updated free hit team during the week when I see all the games and etc. But I wanted to lay down a foundation for you to start building and to start looking at the players. So now, without further ado, let's jump into the Game Week 3 fixtures. If you enjoy content, by the way, and want to see more from me, please subscribe to the channel. It's completely for free. I'm pushing for 5k, but I'm very close to 4k. So let's see how it goes and let's push for it as soon as possible. These are the games that we're getting for Game Week 3. We start with Chelsea versus Fulham. Not an easy game for Chelsea, but with the form that they've shown against West Ham, maybe some players from their team can be good to have. Manchester United versus Burnley. This is the first fixture where I will take some players into my side, as I think Manchester United will improve offensively with time, and this game against Burnley at Old Trafford comes at the perfect time. I think that most probably the best captain from for Game Week 3 is from Manchester United, so I would say that you should be picking some players from there. Spurs versus Bournemouth, I think it's a pretty equal game. I want to see how they play against other oppositions in Game Week 2, especially Spurs versus City and Bournemouth versus Wolves, but I think the level will be the same, so it's going to be very hard to predict which way to go. Sunderland versus Brentford, I think that here I might favor Sunderland, especially with attacking returns, as Brentford have been shambolic and I don't expect a lot from them. Wolves versus Everton, I think, is another equal game from that week. I think that Spurs and Bournemouth, Wolves and Everton, and even Sunderland and Brentford make picking players pretty hard, as there are a lot of fixtures that are 50-50 in my opinion. Leeds versus Newcastle. Newcastle would have played on Monday versus Liverpool, and Leeds would have faced Arsenal, so I suspect Newcastle to have lost that game and Leeds to have lost. So two teams with losing records coming into Game Week 3, but I suspect this is where Newcastle turn it for themselves and start scoring some goals. So I think Newcastle are an okay favorite here to have. Brighton versus Manchester City. I suspect Manchester City to be in a great firing form. Brighton, of course, is a team that can play well against Manchester City, but I heavily favor Man City here. Forest versus West Ham. I think that this game will favor a lot Forest. This is a game between the two managers that are most likely to get sacked. West Ham because they're playing ultra bad, and Forest because the manager is not in a good terms with the owner. So I think that this will be an interesting game to follow. Liverpool Arsenal, another 50-50 game that I think most of you have activated the free hit just to avoid that fixture. And finally, Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace, a very odd starting hour, but I would think that's because of the Conference League qualification. But still, I was not expecting a Sunday fixture at 9 o'clock. This is a very odd hour, but still I think that here Aston Villa are the favorites, as Crystal Palace most likely will lose Gay in the time being. They have lost Eze, and I think Aston Villa will start preparing and winning piece by piece, and they will get with some good scores. So here what teams I'm going to focus: Chelsea, United, Sunderland, Newcastle, City, Forest, Villa. I have 7 teams that I want to select players from. Of course, my bench is going to consist of some random players, so don't get accustomed to it. We're going to discuss what you can improve and what you can do. But now let's go and see how the draft is shaping up. So first of all, we're going to start with the goalkeeper and the bench. Let's discuss the goalkeeper's position first. Sales against West Ham at home, 5 million for the goalkeeper. West Ham are shambolic. They're just not playing up to any speed. They're very slow. They just lack a lot of everything, and I think a manager swap is due. Forest, on the other hand, may lose Nuno Santo Espirito, but until he starts posting some bad results, I just don't see it happening. Sells West Ham United 5 million. I think he's bound for a clean sheet. Probably Bowen and Paqueta will be the main threats against him, but I think he can generate some save points, and Forest defenders can generate some really solid defensive contributions and returns. 5 million, I think it's a good price, it's a fair price, and you get a very solid defender. The team value of this team is 97.6 million, so this is affordable to everyone. Of course, if you do not like having such a light bench and so much money in the bank, you can just spend it. I just don't care about the bench when I prepare a free hit, but maybe the Palmer's injury has showcased to us that you might need a random player to cover for things that might happen. So I am going to probably suggest a player after I showcase to you the full 11 starting 11. Dubravka against Manchester United away together with the Steph. It's not ideal, but probably I would swap a Steph, and I would probably swap King with some players in order to showcase to you. But let's discuss the other positions onto the field, because it's pretty harsh to don't spend the budget, especially when you have it. You just need to spend it. So yeah, Chelsea goal gets the note here. You can add Sanchez, but Sanchez is not that good of a keeper. You can of course add players from Manchester City, players from Manchester United, players from Newcastle, but I've got those players up ahead, so I'm not wasting a goalkeeper spot on any of them. While Sales is a brilliant keeper, he racks up some save points, he racks up some bonus points, so I think he will make a very nice addition to your free hit in game week 3. Going into defense, this is what I came up with. Starting with the Leeds away game for Newcastle, I'm picking Schär. I think he's the most nailed center back. I see Bird and Botman getting rotated with each other. I see Livramento, Trippier and Howe rotating with each other. Probably Livramento and Schär are the two most nailed defenders at the moment for Newcastle, but I want to get Schär here. Against Leeds, yes, he might not be in position for a nailed clean sheet, but I think he has a solid potential up ahead. He has some long shots in him, and he has some defensive contributions in him. I think that Leeds away, it's a good fixture for Newcastle to start winning into the Prem. I don't know what the result between them and Liverpool was. This, I'm recording this at Friday evening after Chelsea trashed West Ham, but still I think that Schär is one of the better possibilities that you can have there. Dorgo from United versus Manchester United. Dorgo played pretty good game against Arsenal in game week 1. I have no idea how he performed against Fulham, but I think against Burnley he will have a nice chance to redeem himself. He will be against Kyle Walker, who has probably not directly against Kyle Walker, but he will be against another wing back, and he will be progressing throughout the left wing against Kyle Walker at the end of the day. So I think he has a fair chance, as Walker has lost some speed while Dorgo is pretty young and electric. I quite like Dorgo for my left wing back spot if I'm picking someone. So yeah, I'm happy with Dorgo facing Burnley at home at 4.5. I think it's a good transfer and a good player to have into your side. And Cucurella against Fulham, I think Cucurella has been amazing. Of course, Chauba has performed better, got a good game week 1 score, then he scored in game week 2, while Cucurella got a very good game week 1 score, and then he got an assist in game week 2, and he got an early sub, so at least if the clean sheet was present, he was going to lock it in. But still, I think that Cucurella at 6 million is a steal. I think that a lot of people would have avoided him, especially because there are other players at 6 million like 8 Nuri, Virgil, Frimpong, Kerkes. Of course, Frimpong with his injury, a lot of players are getting Kerkes, but for the free hit and with the form that Chelsea is in, I think that it's going to be pretty okay to just pick Cucurella and have him selected in your side. If they're leading by 3-4 goals, he can lock in the clean sheet early. If they are scrapping for a goal, he's going to be ever there. If the game is 0-0 or 1-0, I think Cucurella has a very high chance of bonus points. So at the end of the day, I think he's in an amazing potential territory. Of course, you can adjust the defenders however you want. You can go for someone more expensive like De Ligt. In defense, you can go for Livramento, you can pick Tosin or Chauba, but I think that those three defenders complement each other, and you get a a bit of everything. Attacking returns, solid defensive shoutouts, and Kukurela, a bit of mix of everything. Of course, you don't care about a balance that much in your FPL team, but it's good to have different sources of points and not rely solely on defensive contributions or attacking returns. You have a bit of everything that you can be monitoring in the games that you are watching. Going into midfield, this is where things get a little bit spicier. I've selected players that are not very popular in your draft. Of course, Bruno is popular, but the other three guys are not. Three of them play at home, and I think they play against probably the worst sides in the Prem at the moment, especially Gibbs White against West Ham United. Now, starting with Bruno, because he is the most obvious pick here. Burnley at home, so he has the fixtures, he has penalties, he has set pieces, he has assist potential, he has experience, and his positioning is pretty good, so I would say he is the prime candidate for a captain for your Gameweek 3 free hit squad. Burnley at home, it's easy, 9 million, he's the most expensive midfielder in my team, and I think he will gain more and more popularity throughout the season. I forgot that he has defensive contributions potential, especially when taking the ball outside from the other players, and recoveries are his main bread and butter from those defensive contribution points. I'm not selecting another Manchester United attacker because I wanted to cover a lot of the weak sides players that they're facing, and here I'm adding Morgan Gibbs White as my second Forest player. West Ham are just awfully bad. They cannot nail down a formation, they cannot nail down a starting lineup, and I suspect Morgan Gibbs White is going to cook some pretty good numbers here. Of course, here you have the budget, you can replace him with Mbeumo, with Cunha, because you have the possibility to do it. I haven't selected a striker from Manchester United, so you can replace Morgan Gibbs White with whoever else you want. You can go for more Newcastle players like Elanga against Leeds, but in general I want to spread my midfield opportunities. Morgan Gibbs White on some of the set pieces, he has stayed in Forest, so I think his numbers will increase, and of course his potential will skyrocket as the time goes. He's still young and his best years are ahead of him, and West Ham at home, let's not fool ourselves, this is one of the easiest fixtures that they will be having this season. Adingra here is an interesting pick. I didn't think that Sunderland would have played that well against West Ham. To be fair, it was against West Ham, but now it's against Brentford, so I don't think that Sunderland are a bad of a team. I don't have an idea how they finished with Burnley yet, but no matter how they finished, I think that Adingra is going to be an amazing option for your cheap asset. Of course, you can improve him if you got the player that I got with a little bit of an increased price. If you already got him, I think Adingra can immediately go to Mbeumo, or he can go to Cunha. If you like him, he can go to more 7.5 midfielders. He can go to a 7 million like Rodgers. He can go to Reinders, Cherky, a lot of the City boys as well, but I think that Adingra will not disappoint you. Last but not least is Gordon, who is on penalties with Isaac out of the squad still. Leeds away, it's not going to be that easy of a fixture, but he's playing as an out of position forward. They haven't signed anyone yet that is going to play, which is going to be a big issue if they don't sign anyone until the deadline window, but the transfer window deadline. But I think that they will sign someone, and when they do, he will go to his preferred left wing position and he will start cutting and score goals, and he might still be on penalties. So I would be very happy to own Gordon, not only for Game Week 3 but for the foreseeable future. But specifically for Game Week 3, I think that Gordon is a very good player to have, and if you're looking to free hit and offload those Arsenal and Liverpool midfielders, Gordon is a prime example of how easily you can replace them. Now let's go and see how the forward line looks. Last but not least is the forward line, and here is where most of my money are spent. I'm putting Watkins, Wood and Haaland. This is my third Forest player in Chris Wood, but I literally think that they are shambolic. Morgan Gibbs White as a second striker, just like Pedro did, and Wood being in the box, being present, being a penalty taker, I think it's a good potential to have a triple up from Forest, especially if you're on a free hit. This is not so popular as a draft to have 3 Forest players and 2 of them not being defenders, but at the end of the day, I think that West Ham are just that bad and you need to focus on attacking that weakness. Watkins against Crystal Palace, as I mentioned, Crystal Palace have already lost Eze. They will probably most likely lose Gay before Game Week 3 starts, so I think that Watkins is going to have a very good game. Of course, Richards and Lacroix are still good enough to cover, but let's be real, they need more center backs. Riyad is injured. so they need to buy someone and they need to react quickly. They're linked with several players, but nothing is concrete yet, so I think Watkins will have a good game against them. Starting with Chris Wood and Watkins up front gets a lot of the budget, but the big spender here is Erling Haaland. I don't know how he managed to do against Spurs, but at the end of the day, we need some premium players in order to have that vice captaincy, and Haaland fits the bill perfectly here. Brighton historically have not been very good against Haaland in particular, so I think that Haaland will have some very good returns in game week 3. I'm missing several players that are popular. Salah, no Liverpool boys here. I don't have anyone up front from Chelsea. Joao Pedro can be a prime target instead of Wood. If you don't want to triple up on Forest's attack, you can swap Watkins with Joao Pedro and improve Adingra to Rodgers. That will still allow you to improve the bench. I can see myself picking players from even from Manchester City like Ait Nouri. You can add more defenders from United, you can add a defender more from Chelsea, but that defense works perfectly fine. What I will do here is I will replace Estef with Agbadu as Wolves face Everton, and I think that this is a prime game for clean sheet. You can consider Everton defense good as well for clean sheets, but Wolves are at home, so Estef or Agbadu can work perfectly fine. This increased the budget to 98.1 million, which is still plenty of money left. You can improve King to someone like Stash, who still faces Forest, yes, but I think that he's prime candidate for good defensive contribution returns. You can get someone like Caicedo for this week as well, but he's going to be a bench player, so don't get anyone with amazing potential to return that many points. And you still believe me, you have to pick Rodon or a 4.0 defender. These are just placeholders. I like Stephen Rodon. I think they're two of the most solid defenders that you can have there. And yeah, this is the free hit team that we're going to start the weekend with. Please inform me, what do you think should be improved? Am I missing some players? What should I do in general? I will be updating the free hit during the week, but for now, this will be the free hit template and the free hit solution that I'm going to propose to you. If you enjoy my content and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's completely for free. You can see that I'm aiming for this target. We're still very far away, but we can improve. The mini league code is up there and you can join and we can have a lot of fun there. But that will be it for me today. Thank you for watching, but for now guys, I'll be out. Bye.